Hello, and welcome back to the Film Custodian show. I am back in the garage, in case you couldn't tell, in case you can't hear the crickets. Despite Season 8 being a letdown for most people, including myself, people came back to watch House of the Dragon, and so did I. And for the most part, I liked it. I think it's, I saw episode 1 and 2. I think it's a very good start to a show that could be freaking amazing. I think it starts off slow, it starts off direct, it's very much taking its time to set everything up. It did an excellent job reintroducing everybody to Westeros. Even if you've never seen Game of Thrones before, you could hop right into this show and know exactly where you are, what's going on. Everything is explained. Just the world building they do in one episode. Game of Thrones has always been good at this. Game of Thrones, they set up the world building, everything, the rules, the magic, where everybody is geographically and all that, and they do it again. The production is great, the cinematography is great, the CGI dragons are still amazing, just as good as any of the really good stuff. Game of Thrones started off season 1, it was doable CGI, but then of course it got better and better as the budget grew and the demand for the show grew. And so we've now got the best of the CGI at the end of Game of Thrones at the beginning of this show. So yeah, all that's great. The art department is fantastic. They're once again setting this fantasy show in reality. They're grounding it in reality. It's a lived-in, authentic place. Everything is gritty and bloody and gory and terrible. Right from the get-go, we start with the Great Council. So the Lords of Westeros come together and they're going to choose a new heir. And then they choose Viserys I to be the new king, played by Paddy Considine. I believe I was saying that correctly. And the council takes place in Harrenhal, which, if you remember from the second season of Game of Thrones, you actually have Tywin Lannister and you have a young Arya Stark, and they have some really great conversations in there. Some of the best stuff in the entire show is there. It's fantastic. You have the monologue, you have the voiceover, which is basically, Viserys is chosen over Rhaenyra, a woman. They have to make it clear, a woman. And so from that particular beginning, which is that the man was voted over the woman, sets the precedent and the tone for the rest of the series. So now every decision that a man makes on the show, and we're just 2 episodes into this, but I can see it continuing through the rest of the series. Every decision that the men make is now wrong. The bad guys are the men, right from the get-go. So right away you've set up, this is women versus men, and we're going to fight the evil patriarchy, and so what is this? This is suffragettes in Westeros? Come on now. Yeah, there's a lot of people that I've talked to. Most of the reactions to the show are basically just, it's okay. There's dragons, there's, Westeros and stuff. But really, I think one of the key things, at least 2 episodes in, is that there's nobody to root for, really. Like I said, Damon is the best character, I think, or even the king, but everybody else is just kind of like a spoiled brat, I want this, I want this, and you got, Westerosi Karen, and the men will never select you, the men are evil and sexist, and the patriarchy is evil, and it's just on and on and on and on, and all that, heavy-handedness and on-the-nose stuff is just lazy and bad writing, and nobody wants this. There's nothing compelling. I think in the end, it's really missing a main character. Now, Game of Thrones didn't necessarily have a main character, but it did have a main character in Season 1, and that was Eddard Stark, until he lost his head. Lost his head for being one of the only, sort of good characters. George R.R. Martin is famous for creating, gray characters, where it's basically everyone's changing alliances. It made me miss Game of Thrones. It made me miss Jaime Lannister and Arya Stark and Jon Snow and all these people. Which is why I'm excited for the Jon Snow spinoff. If that's actually going to become a reality, that would be great. And it'd be a sequel to Game of Thrones. We get all these people back. Because as of right now, it's like, well, House of the Dragon, you know, the Targaryens, like, oh, well, you know, it's a fight for power. Who's gonna take control? Well, I mean, who really cares? I mean, you know what I mean? It's a good show, but it's just I don't care enough. And now there's a promise of like more action in in episode 3, dealing with this crab pirate guy who likes to nail people to wood and then let crabs eat them. Yeah, I mean, there's not even really a mystery or anything. The only mystery is, you know, why is the king's flesh deteriorating? That you have to put it in maggots and stuff. Damon Targaryen, played by Matt Smith, which is so far the best character. He just has the swagger, he has the attitude, he has the bad boy thing going on, and you know, he really hasn't had a whole lot of screen time yet. The screen time that he does have, he controls every single scene. I'm really looking forward to that. And then, of course, you have the king himself. I actually really like the king. I mean, just leave the guy alone. Let him build his models, right? And Graham McTavish, man, that guy's just in everything. He was a dwarf in The Hobbit. He's in The Witcher, sort of like a scheming politician, and now he's a badass Kingsguard. So yeah, really looking forward to see more of him. Yeah, Rhaenyra Targaryen, Millie Atlock, she does a good job. She's the one that's been named for succession. She does a good job with everything that she does. I guess there's going to be a time jump later on because there's already 2 actresses set up to play the more adult versions of Rhaenyra Targaryen and Alicent Hightower. I believe I said that correctly. Yeah, there's a lot of time jumping. Even between episode 1 and 2, it's 6 months. So that's kind of different. And that's the thing, is like if you want to compare this to, let's say, Breaking Bad, you know, Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad, and then you have Better Call Saul is the spinoff of Breaking Bad. But it managed to be its own show. It has its own characters, it expanded the world, it brought in new characters, expanded the characters themselves, made everything bigger and nuanced. It just added so many layers, and in a lot of ways, it kind of made Breaking Bad the spinoff to Better Call Saul. I mean, it's just an example of, you know, great writing and great minds behind that show. Can't say enough about that show, actually. So, all right, yeah, House of the Dragon, episode 1 and 2, really good so far. It's different enough to, I think, to justify its existence, and it's very tame at the moment. It's a very tame Game of Thrones. That's pretty good, and it's been renewed for a 2nd season, of course. So, yeah. Please like and subscribe if you like to sit there and watch me talk about all these kinds of things. And I can never, my brain just completely turns to mush out here. It's this garage. It's too hot back here, man. And I do this at the end of the day. I've done a full day's work, and my brain is just mush. Whatever. Like and subscribe, please. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.